Welcome back, everyone, to the Wisdom of Lao Tzu.
Great to be back. Today we're diving into Chapter 17 of the Tao Te Ching. And this is a piece of wisdom that, well, it really challenges our modern assumptions about what it means to lead. In a previous deep dive, we touched on Chapter 9's surprising advice to withdraw at the peak of success. Which is such a tough concept, especially in our world, isn't it? I mean, we crave presence, visible impact, personal branding.
We absolutely do.
We want success to be unmistakably our achievement.
Right. We want the credit.
Think about it. Our history books are just filled with these bold, visible leaders. Alexander the Great, Winston Churchill. We naturally equate greatness with, strong, active, and very present leadership.
The person out front.
But Lao Tzu, with that sort of ancient knowing perspective, offers this truly radical idea in Chapter 17.
Oh, it's absolutely a disruptive question. It completely flips our usual understanding of power of influence, he asks.
Wow.
What if the best leader achieves extraordinary things while barely being noticed?
Yeah.
What if they leave people with this genuine feeling, deep down, we did this ourselves?
Wow.
It's about achieving greatness in the shadows, really, not the spotlight.
So if you've ever wondered how to lead with truly lasting impact, maybe beyond just chasing that visible credit, then today's deep dive is definitely for you. Our mission is to try and unravel Lao Tzu's secret of this shadowy leadership and explore how a seemingly, almost non-existent leader can achieve true, profound greatness. So to start our investigation, we always go right to the source. Let's hear the original words of Chapter 17 using D.C. Lao's translation. The best of all rulers is but a shadowy presence to his subjects. Next comes the ruler they love and praise. Next comes one they fear. Next comes one with whom they take liberties. When there is not enough faith, there is lack of good faith. Hesitant, he does not utter words lightly. When his task is accomplished and his work done, the people all say, "It happened to us naturally."
So right there, Lao Tzu lays out this four-tiered ranking of leadership.
It's quite a hierarchy. And to really get his radical point, let's maybe flip our usual thinking. Let's look at them from the bottom up, like we're detectives solving a case.
Okay, good approach. So, tier 4, the absolute bottom. One with whom they take liberties.
This is the lowest rung, right?
Yeah.
People openly disrespect this leader. They treat them almost like a joke.
Exactly. The original Chinese word there, wo, it actually implies insult, humiliation.
Oof.
Yeah. This is a leader who's completely lost authority, seen as incompetent, maybe even tyrannical, but definitely ineffective.
Okay, moving up one step. Tier 3.
Tier 3 is one they fear. Now, people obey this leader, sure, but it's purely out of intimidation.
Like that really stern orchestra conductor, the one who rules with an iron fist.
Precisely. They might produce order technically, but it's an order built entirely on tension. The atmosphere is always suppressed, anxious.
Okay, so fear gets compliance, but not much else. Now, Tier 2. The ruler they love and praise. Now, this one sounds pretty good, doesn't it? This sounds like the ideal to most of us.
It really does.
This is the charismatic conductor, the one who inspires that brilliant performance, and afterwards, the audience goes wild, cheering for them.
That's the image. That's the leader we often celebrate. Our heroes are great figures.
Yeah, but Lao Tzu says, nope, still not the best.
That's the kicker, isn't it?
That is really counterintuitive.
It absolutely is. And that leads us finally to Tier 1. The best of all rulers is but a shadowy presence to his subjects.
Yeah.
This is the highest level. Their existence is minimal, not like a bright, shining sun, but more like the air we breathe.
Essential but unnoticed.
Exactly. Essential, but you don't feel its pressure. Or, sticking with our conductor analogy, this is the conductor who, maybe through masterful rehearsal, has completely infused the music's soul into every single musician.
Okay.
So during the actual performance, their presence is incredibly subtle. Maybe just a glance, maybe even complete stillness. And the music, it just flows as if it's coming directly from the musicians' own hearts.
Wow. So they feel like they own it.
They do own it. That's the point.
Okay, so how does leadership slide? How do you go from that effortless top tier all the way down to being despised at the bottom?
Well, Lao Tzu gives us the core diagnosis. It's in that single, powerful line. When there is not enough faith, there is lack of good faith.
Ah, faith or trust.
Exactly. When the leader's faith in the people, or maybe the people's trust in the leader, when that's insufficient, distrust just starts to creep in. It grows.
And the whole foundation cracks.
The very foundation of the relationship starts to break down.
Yes. And how does that top tier leader, the shadowy one, actually achieve this mastery?
Lao Tzu gives hints. Hesitant, he does not utter words lightly.
Okay, careful with words.
Right. Very reserved, cautious with commands, and then, when his task is accomplished, the people all say, "It happened to us naturally."
So success is measured by the people feeling like they did it themselves.
Precisely. The greatness of the best leader is found, paradoxically, in their lack of overt, visible greatness.
So there it is, Lao Tzu's radical leadership ranking. But this clear list, it probably leaves you, and it certainly leaves me, with some deeper questions buzzing around.
It naturally does.
Like, why is a beloved leader only second best? That still feels odd. And how exactly does trust start to collapse? What's the mechanism there?
And that final cheer?
Yeah, it happened to us naturally. What does that really mean? Who are they cheering for?
These descriptions, they definitely open up these profound questions. Paradoxes of leadership, trust, autonomy.
To really understand, I think we have to go deeper, investigate these mysteries.
Agreed. Let's do it.
Okay, so we're diving into the ultimate mystery here, the mystery of power and trust. Lao Tzu's given us this leadership ranking, and it's deeply counterintuitive, right?
Absolutely.
So this list, it's like our map, but it also presents these three core puzzles we need to solve. Puzzle number one, let's call it the paradox of the peak. Why is the absolute best leader a ghost? Someone that people barely even perceive. And, maybe even more puzzling, why is that benevolent ruler, the one loved and praised by everyone, why are they considered second-rate? Like a sign of decline, even.
It challenges everything we think we value.
Right. Okay, mystery number two. The chain reaction of distrust. Lao Tzu says, when there is not enough faith, there is lack of good faith. How does this collapse actually begin?
Where's the trigger?
Exactly. Is it just a simple tit for tat, like, you don't trust me, so I won't trust you?
Yeah.
Or is there something more complex going on? Psychological breakdown? Maybe even philosophical?
Deeper roots?
And mystery number three, the final applause. When it's all said and done, and the people cheer, we did this ourselves, who are they really cheering for?
Themselves. The leader. Something else entirely.
Or is it some higher state of nature that we haven't even considered? Okay, let's open the case files. Let's start the investigation.
All right, mystery F tag 1, the ghost of power, and let's call it the sin of benevolence. So the highest leader, Taishang, D.C. Lao translates it as a shadowy presence.
Like air, you said. You rely on it, but don't feel its pressure.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the ancient commentator Wang Bi, he explains that this ruler governs with non-action and teaches without words.
Wow. Teaches without words.
Their work leaves no trace. It's so effortless, it just integrates completely.
Okay, I'm trying to picture this. Is there a historical example that kind of fits, maybe from the West?
Well, the classic example often brought up, even though it's Roman, not Chinese, is Cincinnatus.
Cincinnatus, right, the farmer dictator.
Exactly, 458 BC. He was just a farmer, granted absolute dictatorial power to save Rome from invasion.
Total power.
Total power. He leads Rome to this swift victory, like 15 days, and then instead of clinging to that power, that glory...
Which he totally could have got.
Oh, yeah. He immediately resigns, gives it all up, goes back to his plow.
Incredible.
His power was like a shadow. It was there when desperately needed, gone the moment the work was done. The people were saved, life went back to normal, but without this heavy hand of overt leadership pressing down.
You just knew he existed.
Yeah.
That's the line.
That's the connection people make. And this idea of a shadowy presence, it actually has some really interesting nuances in translation over the centuries.
Oh.
Yeah, some early translations talked about a mythical golden age where people didn't even know they had rulers, just totally oblivious.
Like anarchic bliss.
Sort of. But modern scholarship, especially influenced by archaeological finds, like the Moamdui texts.
Right. Those discoveries changed things.
They did. They revealed slightly different wording in earlier versions. Now, the thinking leans more towards this idea of minimal awareness.
Minimal awareness. So not unknown,
Just unobtrusive. So light, their presence operates at the very edge, the threshold of perception.
Oh.
Which is why D.C. Lao's shadowy presence is actually a pretty brilliant way to capture that elusive, almost spiritual quality.
That makes sense. Okay, now for the tricky part. The next best leader, the one loved and praised. Why is this second rate? Why are love and praise, which seem like the highest compliments, seen as somehow less than ideal by Lao Tzu?
This is where it really pushes back against our common sense, right?
Totally.
Well, the scholar Chen Guying offers a compelling explanation. He argues that for Lao Tzu, the very need for praise, the fact that love and praise are necessary, That already signals a broken natural order.
So the need itself is the symptom.
Exactly. It means society has already strayed from the Tao, from that natural harmony, and now visible virtue like benevolence or righteousness is required to try and fix it, to patch things up.
Which connects to Chapter 18.
Perfectly. Chapter 18 famously states, "When the great way is abandoned, benevolence and righteousness arise."
So virtues aren't the ideal state.
There's symptoms. Symptoms that society is already sick, that it's moved away from the natural, effortless flow of the Tao.
Wow. That is a completely different way to look at morality.
It is, and it's quite different from, say, some Western philosophical traditions. You think of someone like Heraclitus.
The Greek philosopher.
Right. He saw harmony arising from conflict, from tension, famously said, "War is the father of all things."
Okay. Strife creates balance.
In his view, yes. But Lao Tzu, he believes true harmony comes from the opposite. From yielding, from non-contention. The shadowy leader, the ideal leader, creates a society where that constant struggle isn't needed because harmony arises spontaneously, almost effortlessly.
So it's not that being loved is bad in itself, but the fact that you need that kind of active, visible virtue intervention, that's the sign something's already off track.
Precisely. It's a subtle but profound shift in perspective.
Okay, that's a lot to chew on. Let's move to our next mystery then, the chain reaction of distrust. Lao Tzu stated, "When there is not enough faith, there is lack of good faith." How does this trust actually start to collapse? What sets it off?
Yeah, how does that downward spiral begin? We can look at this from a few different angles, each adding a layer to our understanding.
Yeah.
First, there's what we could call the reciprocal view. This one's pretty direct.
Like cause and effect.
Basically, yeah. If the ruler doesn't fully trust the people will in turn not trust the ruler. Simple reciprocity. Trust is like a currency, you have to give it freely to receive it.
And if that exchange falters?
The whole system suffers. The connection breaks.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Then there's a more psychological view. Some scholars, like Suche, argue that all that active governance, all the laws, the rules, the moral codes.
The stuff the second-tier leader might do?
Exactly. They argue that stuff actually stems from the ruler's own inner doubt, their own lack of confidence in the natural flow of the Tao, in things just working out.
So insecurity leads to control.
That's the idea. This inner insecurity then gets projected outward as distrust of the people. It suggests that a leader's actions, especially controlling ones, are often just a mirror reflecting their own internal state. Arthur Waley's translation captures this well. It is by not believing people that you turn them into liars.
Wow. Okay, so the leader's doubt actually creates the untrustworthiness they fear.
That's the psychological dynamic proposed. And there's one more angle, a really insightful one. The reflective view.
Reflective. How so?
Think about it. What if you keep declaring how sincere you are, how trustworthy you are, but it just doesn't seem to work? People still don't trust you.
Yeah, that happens.
Michael Lafargue suggests that if sincerity has to be constantly declared, if it has to be performed to earn trust, then maybe it wasn't truly authentic or effortless sincerity in the first place.
Oh, if you have to try that hard.
It wasn't real. If it didn't flow naturally from the Tao, spontaneously, then it wasn't true sincerity. And therefore, it cannot inspire genuine trust in return.
So it's like a deep self-reflection for any leader. Is my trustworthiness actually genuine, or am I just trying to project it?
Exactly. It digs really deep into authenticity.
So whether it's a simple back and forth, or a leader's own insecurity causing them to overreach, or maybe even a hidden lack of authenticity in their sincerity, Lao Tzu is painting this clear picture of how trust erodes, often starting from the top down.
It's a profound warning, still relevant today, maybe more than ever.
Absolutely. Okay, let's tackle our final puzzle. The final applause, who are we? The chapter ends with that incredibly powerful line. The people all say, "It happened to us naturally," or "We did this ourselves." This line has been debated for, 2,000 years?
At least. It's rich with meaning. What does it truly signify?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Well, one traditional interpretation, you see that in James Legg's work, for instance, views this as the people giving themselves all the credit.
Forgetting the leader entirely.
Completely forgetting the ruler's subtle role. They feel this powerful sense of autonomy, thinking, hey, we are as we are of ourselves. We did this.
Okay.
And in this view, the sage, the tier 1 leader, simply created the conditions that allowed them to become themselves, to flourish on their own.
So the leader's success is measured by their own invisibility in the outcome.
In that interpretation, yes. However, there's a more, you could say, revolutionary theory.
Oh, based on what?
Based on analyzing ancient Chinese grammar, scholars like Professor Liu Xiaogan suggest the line might actually mean the people are praising the ruler's natural governance.
Wait, praising the ruler. How?
In this reading, the people are commenting that I, meaning the ruler, am in perfect accord with the natural, with the Tao.
So, happen naturally refers to the ruler's way of ruling, not just the outcome.
Exactly. It elevates natural from just being a description of the feeling to being the highest possible praise for an enlightened, wu-wei practicing ruler.
That's a completely different spin.
It is. And then there's sort of a third way, a compelling middle ground, perhaps.
Okay.
Professor Roger Ames suggests that the people are neither ignorant of the leader nor just praising the leader's style, instead because they have been genuinely empowered
By the Tier 1 leader's actions.
Right. They correctly perceive that their prosperity, their well-being, it really did arise from the self-sowing, the spontaneous unfolding of their own potential.
So they're right to say, we did this because the leader enabled their own natural capacity.
Precisely. The leader's role was to create the optimal conditions, like a good gardener prepares the soil, but not to dictate the specific results or claim the flower as their own making. So the people's cheer is actually an accurate confirmation of this state of spontaneous becoming.
Okay, wow. 3 different ways to read that ending.
But what's truly fascinating, I think, is that all 3 interpretations, despite their very different nuances, they all point towards the same core insight.
Which is?
That the sage's traceless achievement, their highest form of leadership, is so deep, so perfectly integrated, that it had completely merged with the natural order of things, with the flow of the universe. It creates this state of effortless, spontaneous action.
The leader's work becomes indistinguishable from the flow of life itself.
Beautifully put. Yeah.
That really brings it home. And it shows that this political philosophy, even though it's ancient, it's not just some abstract theory. It has these incredibly tangible reflections in our own lives, in leadership today.
Absolutely.
So how do we take these deep insights and actually apply them right here, right now? Let's maybe step out of the philosophical text for a moment and look at 2 powerful stories, one from history and one maybe from the modern world, to see how these Taoist principles either play out perfectly or how they can tragically unravel.
Good idea. Grounding it in examples.
Let's start with our ancient example, Cincinnatus and the effortless republic. We mentioned him briefly.
The farmer dictator.
Right. Back in 458 BC, Rome was in serious trouble. His army was surrounded by an enemy tribe. Things looked bad.
Dire straits.
So the Senate takes this drastic step. They appoint Cincinnatus as absolute dictator, total power to save the republic.
And the messengers find him.
Not in palace, not plotting in some war room, but out plowing his small farm.
Humble beginnings or humble continuation.
Exactly. He listens, puts on his toga, takes command, devises a brilliant strategy. But here's the key. No grand speeches, no focus on personal glory. He just efficiently, quietly organizes the rescue.
Gets the job done.
Gets the job done. In this stunning victory, he defeats the enemy in just over 2 weeks, 16 days.
Incredible speed.
And then comes the truly Lao Tzu-esque moment.
Yeah.
What does he do?
Gives back the power.
Immediately.
Huh.
Resigns the dictatorship power he could have legally held for 6 months and goes straight back to his farm, back to the plow.
No parades, no monuments, no victory tour.
Nothing. He sought no praise, he did the work, and then he just disappeared back into his normal life. The republic was saved, people went back to their lives, knowing he existed, sure, but feeling no heavy hand of power.
That's the perfect embodiment, isn't it? The highest ruler, the people only know that they exist.
They felt naturally safe. It almost felt like their well-being just happened. It wasn't forced upon them by a strong man.
A living example of Tier 1.
For a modern story, a cautionary tale maybe?
Yep.
The fall of a tech visionary. Let's call him Julian.
Okay, Julian.
He starts an AI company. Classic story. Garage, dozen people. In those early days, he was their spiritual leader.
The charismatic founder.
Totally. Coded alongside them, shared pizzas at midnight, knew everyone's story. His vision was electrifying. They were like a family. And they loved him for it.
So starting at Tier 2, loved and praised.
Exactly. Textbook Tier 2. Then the company goes public. Massive success. Julian becomes a billionaire. And he starts to change.
Success corrupts or reveals.
Or maybe reveals. He starts to lose faith, maybe. Faith that the company's magic, its success, could possibly continue without his direct, constant, visible control.
He needed to be the reason.
It seems like it. He becomes obsessed with metrics, micromanagement, meetings shift, they stop being collaborations, they become his lectures. That joyful, creative atmosphere, gone, replaced by this silent, tense fear of making a mistake, of displeasing him.
So he descends into Tier 3, the feared leader.
Down he goes, then the market shifts. Tech is volatile. The company, now rigid, fearful, can't adapt quickly enough. Stock price starts to plummet.
Pressure mounts.
And Julian, he grows paranoid, starts blaming his staff. They're incompetent, they're lazy, it's their fault. Culminating in this final disastrous all-hands meeting where he literally screams at them, "You're all nothing without me."
Ouch! Burning all the bridges.
Completely. That was the last straw. The company's internal chat forums just exploded with ridicule, with anger. Key employees started resigning in droves.
The taking liberties stage, Tier 4.
Exactly. He was mocked, openly disrespected, and eventually, inevitably, the board fired him. He went from this celebrated hero, loved and praised, all the way down to a despised failure, Tier 4.
What a fall. And Julian's tragedy, it seems to stem directly from that crucial phrase we discussed, Simbuzuyan.
When faith is insufficient.
His profound lack of faith in others. He couldn't trust anyone but himself, ultimately. And that lack of trust, that need for control, it destroyed everything he'd built. It's such a powerful modern mirror to Lao Tzu's ancient warning.
It really is. So how can we, in our everyday lives, avoid becoming Julian? How can we take even a small step towards the wisdom of Cincinnatus, towards that Tier 1 leadership?
That's the practical question.
Right. So here's a practice for this week. Something we can call the invisible gardener.
Invisible gardener. I like that.
Lao Tzu teaches that the best leader, the best influence, allows people to feel we did it ourselves. Now, this isn't about abandoning responsibility. It's not about being lazy. It's about being like a wise gardener.
How so?
Well, what does a good gardener do? They prepare the soil, right? They provide water, ensure there's sun. They create the absolute best environment for growth. And then
They trust the plant. They step back.
exactly. They trustfully step back and let the plant blossom with its own innate strength. They don't force the bud open.
Right. They enable. They don't dictate.
So this week, the invitation is to find a moment where you can teach someone to fish instead of just handing them the fish.
Okay. A moment of empowerment.
Yeah. It could be, say, a colleague asking for help with a problem they're capable of solving. Or maybe your child struggling with homework. Or even a friend who's wavering on a decision they need to own.
So what do you do in that moment?
First step, recognize the moment. Feel that urge, that temptation to just give the answer. Solve it for them. Do it faster yourself. Just pause, take a breath.
Interrupt the impulse.
Right. Then, step 2, play the gardener. Instead of saying, here's the solution or here's how you do it, provide the sun and soil.
Meaning?
Meaning, ask guiding questions. Don't just give answers. What are your first thoughts on this? Where do you think you could start looking?
Okay, prompts, not prescriptions.
Exactly. Offer tools, not finished products. Hey, I remember seeing a resource that might have some clues. Or, there's a feature in that software that could probably help with this.
Resources, not rescues.
Perfect. And give trust, not just directions. Maybe say something like, take your time with it. I'm sure you'll figure out a good approach. Show confidence in their ability.
Okay, that's crucial, the trust piece.
And then this is maybe the most important and hardest step. Step 3, step back and give credit. When they succeed, and they likely will with that kind of support, give them all the credit.
Resist the urge to say, see, I told you.
Exactly. Instead, say something like, see, I knew you could do it. Or, wow, that's a great way you handled that. Make your contribution, your gardening, invisible. So they feel the full, empowering force of, wow, I did this myself.
That invisible gardener practice, it's really a beautiful, tangible way to embody Wu Wei, that effortless action in our daily relationships.
Yeah.
It's about fostering healthier connections, more empowered people around us, simply by trusting them to grow their own strength, rather than trying to control or manage them all the time.
So wrapping up chapter 17, from that forgotten highest ruler, the shadowy presence, all the way down to the despised tyrant, Lao Tzu gives us this map of the decline of power.
A clear trajectory.
And the root cause, again and again, seems to be a leader's lack of faith. Faith in the people, faith maybe in the Tao itself. This lack of faith leads them down the path of using force, using control.
Which inevitably shatters trust. It's a downward spiral.
Right. And the highest ideal, that Tier 1, is this state so harmonious, so balanced, it seems to just run itself, culminating in that beautiful final line.
When their work is done, the people all say, it happened to us naturally.
Such a powerful image of leadership.
It truly is. We've just explored this ideal state, right? When the great Tao is present, when things are flowing naturally. But this immediately raises a really important, maybe even unsettling question.
Which is,
What happens when the Tao is abandoned? What happens when this ideal collapses? Society doesn't just cease to exist, it scrambles. It tries to replace that natural order with, well, with things we're often taught to admire.
like what?
Like benevolence, righteousness, wisdom, filial piety, loyal ministers, all these virtues.
The things we usually hold up as moral ideals.
Exactly. We write them into our laws, we build monuments to them, we see them as the moral bedrock of a good civilization.
Okay. But I sense a but coming.
There's a big but coming. As we look ahead to next time, Lao Tzu prepares to drop what I think is a truly unsettling challenge. An intellectual bombshell, really.
Uh-oh. What does he do?
In the very next chapter, chapter 18, he takes direct aim at those exact virtues we just listed: benevolence, righteousness, wisdom, filial piety, loyalty. And he argues they're not ideals at all. They're actually signs of deep societal sickness.
Wait, sickness?
How? He declares quite bluntly that it is precisely because the great Tao was abandoned that benevolence and righteousness had to appear. It's because the family is already in discord that we suddenly need to praise filial piety so much.
So they're like bandages on a wound.
Or maybe symptoms of the illness. He says when you see a country constantly celebrating its loyal ministers, that's the surest sign the state has already fallen into chaos and dysfunction.
Wow. That's going to challenge a lot of people. It challenges me right now.
It's meant to.
Why does Lao Tzu see these cherished values, the things we strive for, as merely, like you said, medical records, proof of how sick society actually is? What brutal truth is he suggesting lies hidden behind the moral virtues we hold so dear?
That's the core question for next time.
Okay, well, you definitely need to join us next time as we confront what might be some of the sharpest, most unsettling, and maybe most profound questions in the entire Tao Te Ching.